Recently, a lot of people start to discuss about shoegating, but not in a positive way. Most players think that shoegating actually make the game unbalanced again. And I don't feel like this is something that will be surprising because I feel like something will be happen if one thing was used too frequently. This video, I was not trying to talk about how shoegating works. Instead, I'll just share with you my own personal opinion about how do I look through this problem. So, without further ado, let's hop right into it. When I heard about this problem, I was like, what? We already encountered worse problems in the old days, so I don't think that this question actually will be posed a question to us. Remember previously when AoE weapon dominated the whole games and a lot of players shout out that they should try to either nerf the AoE weapon or try to buff the single target weapon? And so DE did it. They didn't nerf or buff too over, but just make the games a little bit balancing. So the whole problem seems to be solved. Now I need to clarify one thing. I actually do not like AoE weapons a lot. In fact, I also hate players who use AoE weapons dominate the whole mission and just take all the kills away from me. But I actually just accept everything like that. I did hate it, but that doesn't mean that I will never use AoE weapon. In fact, if possibly enough, I will still use AoE weapon. I will use Kubazar, I will use Brahma. I will not stop using that, despite I don't use it quite frequently. Why? That's how the games work. They already shows up these weapons for us, and it's just our own personal issues whether do we want to pick it or not. You tend to pick AoE weapon because you like it, but you can choose not to due to your own reason. So the same situation actually can also apply to shield gating versus health tanking. You see, if let's say you really like to, you can just use shield gating. But if you don't want to, you can also use health tanking. Because you have to understand one thing. It is true that most of our frames are too squishy to be health tank in the first place. That's why you try to go with shield gating. But that doesn't mean that they cannot to. In fact, this is quite different with the weapons. AoE weapons and single target weapon can actually affect the game because if you use one weapon that cannot take kills, it will affect you. But for tanking, it's different because shield gating and health tanking only affect yourself. They didn't affect the others, so this only apply to your own problem. So if talk about shield gating and health tanking, it is just your choice whether do you prefer shield gating or health tanking for your own frame. To show that how does it work, you can take a look at my Saryn here. If we talk about Saryn, we know that she will go with the shield gating style. That's because for the Toxic Lash build, we will try to slot in as many strength as possible, so that we will be relying on shield gating. But if I wanted to, I'm actually more prefer health tanking. In fact, you can take a look here that I'm actually using a health tanking Saryn build. But why must I use a health tanking build? Very simple. I'm not good using shield gating with Saryn. This is my own problem. I cannot use shield gating very well with Saryn. That's why I'm forced to use health tanking. But does it work? It is. For me, I will be more comfortable using health tanking rather than the shield gating. But for other frames, yes. If let's say other frame I can use shield gating very well, I will still use it. This is why I personally think that shield gating is actually not breaking the game too hard. In fact, if take a look at most of our videos, we do not recommend beginners to try shield gating in the very first place because shield gating actually requires a lot of skills to reach up to the invulnerable state, and most beginners cannot do that. That's why they tend to go with the health tanking build. And if you take a closer look to most of my videos, you notice something. I never share about a video that related to infested mission. That's because shield gating relying on using the shield, but Toxic guarantee ignore shield. Under these circumstances, do I have the confidence to go with the shield gating build? I will not, because I'm also actually quite afraid, so I will not try to use shield gating more than the health tanking build did. And most importantly, I have no such intention of going into a level cap build. Why does it matter? Level cap usually can only rely on shield gating to stay survive, because at certain point, no amount of health tanking can actually tank any damage in the level cap mission. That's why they say that the shield gating is the best in the level cap mission. But I'm not running into the level cap, so I don't really need to focus that I must use shield gating. This also shows that I can actually choose to use health tanking because I'm not really want to go into that far away, so health tanking still works. So there you have it. I don't really think that shield gating is breaking a game. Yes, it is true that a lot of people prefer to use shield gating, especially for most of the Warframe videos, they really did explain that you will try to use shield gating build. But I don't think that this is the thing that we will need to worry about, because this is just based on our own personal issue and our own personal favorite. Whether you want to use shield gating or not, that is your choice. Because look at me right now. I'm not really a hardcore player, so I don't feel like I really need to use shield gating to go into that far away. Instead, I just enjoy the game. That's why I choose health tanking more than the shield gating. And this is just your choice whether you want to or not. It is true that they will eat up a lot of mod spaces, but that is based on your own understanding to see that can you maintain the build that you desire. If this is your first time watching, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss out any newest contents from me. Why not leave your comments down below if you got any ideas or thoughts you want to share with all of us. And that's it from me, and as always, I will see you all next time. Bye bye!